The most dangerous Social Security scam is not the one where your payment simply disappears. It is the one where the government sends your money exactly when it is supposed to be sent, for exactly the right amount. But the bank account waiting on the other end is no longer yours. By the time you open your banking app and see that your usual Social Security deposit is missing, the payment may already have been sent somewhere else. And that is why a message now being used to frighten retirees is so effective. It claims that Social Security discovered a major security breach, that hundreds of thousands of retirees may have had their direct deposit information changed, and that everyone must reconfirm a bank account within 24 hours or risk losing the next payment. Pay close attention to this, because the most important fact comes first. I have found no official Social Security announcement confirming a breach affecting 650,000 retirees, with a universal 24-hour deadline to reconfirm bank accounts. A message making that claim should not make you rush to confirm anything. It should make you stop, because the 24-hour deadline itself may be the trap. Stay with me through the end, because I am going to show you the safest way I know to verify where your Social Security money is going, without trusting a phone call, without trusting an email, without trusting a text message, and without giving a verification code to anyone. The rule is simple once you understand it, but most people never realize this until someone has already tried to get into their financial life. I have spent decades watching the same weakness appear in different forms. The words change, the technology changes, the government forms change. Banks redesign their apps. Social Security changes security procedures. Medicare cards change. The IRS adds new identity protections. Credit bureaus add new tools. But the criminal still needs one thing from you. He needs you to believe that the communication he started is more trustworthy than the communication you start yourself. That difference sounds small. It is not small. It can be the difference between checking your account safely and handing a stranger the last piece of information he needs to take over that account. Imagine that you are 71 years old. Your Social Security retirement benefit is $2,146 a month. Your mortgage is gone, but you still have property taxes, Medicare premiums, groceries, electricity, insurance, prescriptions, and a credit card you try to pay in full. The deposit usually appears around the same part of every month. One afternoon, you receive a text that says, SSA Security Notice. Your direct deposit information was affected by a recent security incident. Failure to verify within 24 hours may delay your next federal benefit payment. Under the message is a link. The page that opens has an eagle, a government seal, familiar blue colors, and the words Social Security Administration. It may even know your first name. It may show the correct last 4 digits of a bank account. That is the moment when an ordinary person thinks they already know this information, so they must be real. That is exactly the conclusion the criminal wants. Here is what almost nobody understands. A criminal does not need to know everything about you to sound as if he knows everything about you. One piece of real information can make 5 false statements feel real. Your name may have come from one old data breach. Your phone number may have come from another. Your age can often be estimated from public information. Your address may have been exposed years ago. Your bank's name might have been learned from a stolen email, a fake survey, a compromised merchant, discarded paperwork, or a previous scam attempt. Then the criminal adds information that is public anyway. Social Security payment schedules are not secret. The general payment pattern is published. For many beneficiaries who started receiving benefits after the older payment system, birthdays from the 1st through the 10th are generally connected with the second Wednesday, birthdays from the 11th through the 20th with the third Wednesday, and birthdays later in the month with the fourth Wednesday. Other beneficiaries follow different timing rules. A criminal can read the same public calendar you can read. So when a caller says your payment scheduled for Wednesday may be interrupted, that does not prove he has access to your Social Security record. He may simply know what day it is. That is the first major lesson, and it becomes more important the longer you think about it. Correct information inside a message does not prove that the message is legitimate. I want you to remember that sentence. Correct information does not prove the sender is correct. A scammer can tell you your real address. He can say the name of your real bank. He can use a real Social Security phone number on your caller ID because caller ID can be spoofed. He can use the real name of a government employee. He can copy the language from a real government page. He can mention a real Social Security payment date. He can even send you a second message immediately after the first one and make the second message appear to come from a different organization. He might call pretending to be your bank after pretending to be Social Security. That second call creates the illusion of confirmation. In reality, you may still be talking to the same criminal operation, and this is where the danger becomes more serious than a fake email. Fraud involving Social Security direct deposit is not an imaginary risk. Unauthorized changes have happened. Social Security's own Inspector General has examined cases where beneficiaries reported that expected payments never arrived and direct deposit information had been changed without proper authorization. That history matters because a good scam is often built around a real vulnerability. The lie is not usually that fraud exists. The lie is that the stranger contacting you has been sent to protect you from it. Watch how this works. A criminal does not say, "Give me your money." He says, "I'm trying to stop someone from taking your money." He does not say, "Tell me the security code so I can enter your account." He says, "Read me the security code so I can cancel the unauthorized change." He does not say, "I need your routing number so I can redirect your payment." He says, "I need to confirm the routing number currently on file." The same information leaves your mouth. Only the story around it changes. A retiree who understands nothing about computer security can still protect himself from this if he understands one principle. The person who creates urgency controls the pace, and the person who controls the pace often controls the decision. That is why the phrase "within 24 hours" is so powerful. Think about what that deadline does to your mind. It makes tomorrow feel too late. It makes waiting on hold with the real Social Security Administration feel dangerous. It makes driving to a Social Security office feel too slow. It makes asking your daughter or son for a second opinion feel like wasted time. It makes the little blue link in the text message feel like the fastest solution. The criminal is not only stealing information, he is trying to steal the time you would normally use to think. Social Security itself warns people about this pattern. Government imposters create a problem, pressure you to act immediately, and then tell you what to do next. That is why a universal message saying that hundreds of thousands of retirees must reconfirm direct deposit information within 24 hours should create suspicion, not obedience. A legitimate change involving your financial information does not become more legitimate because someone is pushing you harder. And there is another reason I want older Americans to understand this clearly. The government does sometimes contact people. Banks do sometimes send fraud alerts. Medicare does send communications. The IRS does send notices. Social Security does send notices. The answer is not to believe that every communication is fake. The answer is to stop using the communication itself as your proof. Think about a front door. If someone knocks on your door wearing a utility company shirt and says there is an emergency with your electric meter, the shirt does not prove he works for the utility. The paperwork in his hand does not prove it. The phone number printed on his badge does not prove it. If you want to know whether the utility sent him, you close the door, find the utility company's number yourself, and call. The same idea applies here, except the front door is your phone. Close the door. Then create a new path yourself. That rule becomes even more important because the American financial system is connected in ways that many retirees never see. Your Social Security number may be connected to your government benefit record. Your bank has identifying information. Credit bureaus maintain credit files. The IRS uses your Social Security number in tax administration. Medicare identifies beneficiaries through its own system. Employers report wages. Financial institutions follow identity and anti-fraud rules. Credit card issuers watch payment behavior. Automated systems look for unusual activity. Banks may use computer models to decide whether a login, money movement, device, address change, or card purchase looks different from your normal pattern. None of this means there is one giant computer watching every dollar you spend. That would be an exaggeration. What it does mean is that modern financial life leaves signals in many different systems. And when an identity thief obtains enough pieces, he may try to use one system to gain access to another. This is why an older American can say, "I don't have much money, so why would anyone target me?" and still be at risk. Your value to a criminal is not measured only by the balance in your checking account. A Social Security payment arriving every month is predictable. A good credit history may be valuable. A tax identity may be valuable. A Medicare identity may be valuable. An established bank account that has been open for 15 years may be valuable. A retirement account can be valuable. Even an email address tied to financial accounts can be valuable. The criminal may not know which door will open, so he tries several. Consider a 68-year-old retired mechanic I will call Robert. This is a composite example, built from patterns that appear again and again in real fraud cases. Robert receives about $1,900 a month from Social Security and another small pension. He has never considered himself wealthy. His house is worth more than he paid for it, but he does not think of the house as money because he lives in it. He has around $78,000 left in an IRA, about $11,000 in savings, one Visa card, and a credit score in the high 700s. A criminal sees a different picture. The criminal sees predictable government income, a clean credit file, a retirement account, available credit, and a homeowner who may answer a call because he is worried about protecting what took 40 years to build. Lower-income retirees can be targeted because every monthly payment matters. Comfortable middle-class retirees can be targeted because they may have more accounts and more available credit. This helps both lower-income retirees and comfortable middle-class retirees to understand the same point. Fraud prevention is not something only wealthy people need. Now let me show you the first mistake almost everyone makes. A message arrives about a problem with your Social Security direct deposit. You are suspicious, so instead of clicking the link, you call the telephone number printed inside the message. That feels safe because you did not click anything, but you are still using a path created by the stranger. If the message is fake, the phone number can be fake too. Then you reach a professional-sounding call center. You hear hold music. A recording says, "Thank you for calling the Social Security Payment Security Department." Someone gives you an employee number. They ask for your name and perhaps your date of birth. Then they say, "For your protection, I only need to verify the last 4 digits of your Social Security number." Notice how small the request feels. They are not asking for the whole number. That lowers your defenses. Then comes the second piece. "I see your payment is currently connected to First Community Bank ending in 4821. Is that still correct?" If 4821 is wrong, you may correct them. Now they have the right digits. If the bank name is wrong, you may say, "No, I use Wells Fargo," or Chase, Bank of America, a credit union, or a local bank. Every correction you make gives them cleaner information. A smart fraudster can learn from your denials. This is why I tell people that an interrogation does not always sound like an interrogation. Sometimes it sounds like customer service. Then they tell Robert, "We are sending a 6-digit security code to your phone. Please read it back so I can verify that you are the account owner." His phone vibrates. A code really arrives. This is where many people surrender because the code is real. But the criminal may have triggered that code by trying to sign in to one of Robert's real accounts. The text containing the code may even say, "Do not share this code with anyone." The person on the phone talks over that warning. "Yes, sir. That message is automatically generated. I need the code to close the fraud case." Robert reads the 6 digits. The stranger now has exactly what he needed. Pay close attention to this. A security code is not proof that the caller is real. It may be proof that someone is trying to enter your account at that exact moment. If you did not personally begin a login or a transaction that requires the code, do not read the code to someone who contacted you. That includes someone claiming to be Social Security. It includes someone claiming to be the IRS. It includes someone claiming to be Medicare. It includes someone claiming to be your bank's fraud department. It includes someone claiming that they need to reverse a transfer. A code is often a key. You would not hand a stranger the key to your house because he told you he was checking your locks. Treat account codes the same way. The next mistake is harder to see because it uses your own fear against you. The caller says, "Do not sign into your Social Security account while we are fixing this because it may lock the investigation." Or, "Do not contact your bank until the federal security hold has been removed." Or, "Do not tell anyone about this for 24 hours because the account is under investigation." That demand for secrecy is not a technical requirement. It is isolation. The criminal knows that the moment you call your real bank from the number on the back of your debit card, or the moment you independently contact the real Social Security Administration, his story may collapse. This is not automatic. Protection requires you to interrupt the process. Nobody is going to reach through your phone, take it out of your hand, and stop you from reading a code. The bank may have fraud systems. Social Security may have security tools. Your credit card company may detect unusual spending, but no automated system can protect you from every piece of information you voluntarily give to someone you believe is helping you. That is why knowledge still matters even in a world full of artificial intelligence and fraud monitoring. Banks now analyze enormous numbers of transactions. They can look at devices, login locations, purchase history, transfer patterns, and other signals. A bank may stop a card purchase that looks unusual. It may ask you to confirm that you tried to move money. It may temporarily restrict activity while something is reviewed, but do not turn that into a false sense of safety. People sometimes believe, my bank would never allow a suspicious transaction. Banks stop a great deal of fraud, but the system is not perfect. A transaction can look normal to a computer when a criminal has enough correct information. And if you are manipulated into authorizing something yourself, recovering the money can become more complicated than reversing an ordinary unauthorized credit card purchase. The same misunderstanding appears with the Federal Reserve. I have heard scam callers use phrases like Federal Reserve Security Account, Federal Reserve Protection Vault, or Federal Banking Verification Hold. Those phrases sound powerful because most people know the Federal Reserve sits somewhere near the center of the American banking system, but do not know what it does in their personal financial life. A criminal takes advantage of that confusion. Your retirement check does not require you to move savings into a so-called Federal Reserve safe account because a stranger called you. No legitimate government employee needs you to buy gold, cryptocurrency, gift cards, or move money into an account chosen by a caller to protect your Social Security. When someone mixes government language with a demand that you move your own money, the safest thing you can do is end the conversation. Now bring this into ordinary life. A woman is sitting at her kitchen table. She worked 38 years. Maybe she was a teacher, a nurse, a bookkeeper, a receptionist, a factory worker, or she helped run a small family business. She did not become rich. She saved a little. She contributed to a 401k when she could. She paid payroll taxes every paycheck. She postponed vacations. She kept the same car for 10 years. Now she is retired, and a $2,300 Social Security deposit is not an abstract federal payment. It is food. It is property tax. It is the electric bill in August. It is the Medicare supplement premium. It is the prescription that costs more than she thinks it should. It is part of the money that allows her to remain independent. Then her phone says that payment may be suspended. That is not a normal notification to her nervous system. It feels like someone has put a hand on the foundation of her life. This is why older adults sometimes act faster during financial scams than they would in almost any other situation. It is not because they are foolish. It is because the message is designed around something that cannot easily be replaced. A 25-year-old may think, I can earn more next month. A 75-year-old may think, this is the money I live on. The criminal understands that difference. I have seen people who were careful with money their entire lives become frightened by a message containing the right logo and the right date. They are embarrassed afterward because they think they should have known. That shame creates another danger because it can delay reporting. If you ever make a mistake, speed matters more than pride. Contact the financial institution involved, secure accounts, change passwords if necessary, report identity theft through legitimate government channels, review your credit. Do not spend 2 days hiding the problem because you are embarrassed. Fraud professionals see these situations constantly, and there is a more intelligent way to operate before anything happens. The safest person is not the person who can perfectly identify every fake email. Fake messages are getting better. Artificial intelligence can improve grammar. A criminal can copy design. Voices can be imitated. Caller ID can be spoofed. Websites can look clean and professional. The safest person is the person who does not need to decide whether the message is real before taking the first safe step. He simply refuses to continue through the path the message provided. Here is the rule I promised you. If an unexpected message tells you that something important has changed in your Social Security, banking, Medicare, tax, retirement, or credit life, do not verify the message through a number, link, QR code, email address, or person supplied by that message. Start over. Create your own clean channel. That means you type the official website address yourself, use an official app you already installed from a trusted source, call a number you independently obtained from a statement or official government source, use the number printed on the back of your card, or visit the institution in person. The goal is not merely to double-check. The goal is to break the connection between you and the stranger who started the conversation. If this information is useful to you so far, leave a like. It helps more people in the age group being targeted by these messages actually see the warning before they need it. Now I want to go one level deeper, because the obvious fake message is not the one that worries me most. An obvious scam contains bad spelling, strange grammar, an unfamiliar web address, and a threat that makes no sense. Most people watching right now know enough to be suspicious of that. The harder scam is the one that contains almost no obvious errors. The sender uses your real name. The message mentions Social Security. The date fits your normal payment window. The bank information may be partially correct. The website may have a name that looks almost right. And the person never asks you to send money. He only asks you to verify information. Think about that word, verify. It is one of the most dangerous words in fraud because it sounds passive. When you hear, "Give me your bank account number," you feel that you are giving something away. When you hear, "Verify the bank account number we already have," your brain feels as if the information is already known. The action seems harmless, but from a security point of view, saying the number is saying the number. Whether the criminal calls it giving, confirming, updating, protecting, matching, or verifying does not change what just happened. The same thing applies to your Social Security number. A caller may say, "I already have your Social Security number in front of me. I just need the last 4 digits." If he already had everything necessary, why would he need you to provide anything? Sometimes the reason is obvious. He does not have it. Sometimes he wants to test whether the information he bought is accurate. Sometimes he wants to combine data from separate sources. Sometimes the last 4 digits are one part of an identity check elsewhere. The safest response is not to play the verification game with an unsolicited caller. Email creates another problem. Many retirees learned a good rule years ago. Look at the sender's address. That is still useful, but it is no longer enough by itself. In 2026, Social Security's Office of the Inspector General warned about fraudulent emails made to look like official Social Security communications. Fake messages can use logos, colors, official-sounding language, and links that lead to false websites. One simple safety habit is more powerful than studying the email design. Do not use the link in an unsolicited message to enter your Social Security account. Open a fresh browser window and type the official Social Security address yourself. That tiny inconvenience separates a web page you chose from a page the sender chose. Most people never realize this, but a fake website does not need to stay online for years. It only needs to work long enough to collect information. You click. It asks for a username and password. You enter them. The page says the password was incorrect. You try again. Now the criminal may have 2 versions of a password. Then the page says, "For security, enter the 6-digit code sent to your phone." A real code arrives because the criminal is using the credentials you just supplied on the real site. You enter the code into the fake site. The criminal enters the code into the real site. You think you are logging in. He may be logging in beside you. That is sometimes called a real-time phishing attack, but you do not need to remember the technical phrase. Imagine 2 doors. You think you are standing at the government door. In reality, you are standing at a fake door, and someone behind that door is copying everything you say to the real door. Your password moves through him. Your code moves through him. The lesson is easy. The page can look perfect and still be the wrong door. Text messages are even more dangerous because phone screens are small. Long web addresses may be hidden. People are used to tapping. A message arrives while you are cooking dinner, picking up a prescription, sitting in a doctor's waiting room, or watching television. You do not examine it the way you would examine a legal document. You see Social Security, direct deposit, 24 hours, and verify now. 4 seconds later, you are on the page. There is another trick. The criminal may send the message near a real payment date. This changes everything psychologically. Suppose your usual benefit is expected around the 3rd Wednesday because of the payment schedule that applies to you. 2 days before that Wednesday, you receive a warning that an account mismatch may delay your deposit. If you receive the same message on a random day in the middle of the month, you might ignore it. But because it appears just before the money is expected, it feels connected to something real. That timing is not proof of inside access. Public payment calendars make timing easy to imitate. A criminal can also send messages to thousands or millions of phone numbers. He does not need every date to be right. He only needs the message to reach some people at the right emotional moment. This is the same reason tax scams become louder around tax season and Medicare scams can become more visible during enrollment periods. Criminals use the calendar because the calendar gives their story credibility for free. And here is where the IRS, Medicare, retirement accounts, and credit become part of the same conversation. An identity thief who collects enough information may not stop at Social Security. Stolen identity information can be used in attempts to open credit, file fraudulent tax returns, gain access to existing accounts, or create other financial problems. That does not mean one stolen phone number automatically gives someone access to your 401k, Roth IRA, Medicare record, tax account, bank account, and inheritance. Do not become paranoid. The point is the opposite. Different doors require different keys, which means your job is to stop giving away keys. A scammer may throw financial words at you to make himself sound educated. He might mention an IRS hold, a Federal Reserve review, Medicare verification, retirement income reporting, estate tax, inheritance tax, a banking regulation, an anti-money laundering rule, or a change in federal payment policy. Most Americans do not spend their evenings reading tax rules or banking regulations. A 70-year-old retiree may know exactly how to fix a lawnmower, run a classroom, manage a household, install electrical wiring, keep a small company alive, or raise 3 children, yet still feel intimidated when someone says federal compliance requirement. The criminal wants that intimidation. Do not let complicated language change the basic test. What is the caller asking you to do? Is he asking you to reveal information? Is he asking you to read a code? Is he asking you to click something? Is he asking you to move money? Is he telling you that you do not have time to independently verify the request? Those facts matter more than the impressive words wrapped around them. Let me give you another composite example. Linda is 74. She receives $2,180 in Social Security retirement benefits and has roughly $145,000 in a rollover IRA from her years working for a hospital. Her husband died several years ago. She handles the bills herself. She gets an email with the subject line, "Benefit Payment Confirmation Required." The email says a security review found that her bank routing information did not match Treasury records. It gives her 24 hours. She notices the email has no spelling mistakes. The government seal looks correct. It even says, Social Security will never ask you to send payment through gift cards or cryptocurrency, which is true advice. That sentence makes the fake email feel more legitimate. This is a technique that deserves attention. A sophisticated scam message can contain fraud warnings. Criminals know that people have been trained to look for gift cards, cryptocurrency, and threats of arrest. So the new message may say none of those things. It may tell you not to share your password, then it asks you to enter your password on a linked page. It may tell you that Social Security protects your privacy. Then it asks for bank details. The presence of correct safety advice does not make the communication safe. Linda clicks. The page asks her to confirm the name of her bank, the routing number, and the account number used for direct deposit. Then it asks for the last 4 digits of her Social Security number and date of birth. Nothing on the page says send money. Nothing says buy gift cards. Nothing says you will be arrested. It looks like paperwork. That is exactly why this version can be more dangerous. After she submits the form, the page says, your information is under review. A federal payment specialist may contact you. 15 minutes later, her phone rings. The caller already knows everything she typed. He says, Mrs. Taylor, thank you for completing the security form. I have your case in front of me. Of course he does. She just sent it to him. That creates continuity. The email, website, and phone call now feel like 3 separate parts of one official process. In reality, they may be one criminal funnel. Then he says there was an attempted change from her bank to another financial institution. He asks whether she recognizes a bank in another state. She says no. He becomes reassuring. Good. We stopped the transfer. Now we need to secure your online Social Security profile. A code arrives. He asks for it. That is the moment the entire operation may depend on. People sometimes ask me, wouldn't the text message say not to share the code? Often it does. But human beings do not read warnings in a vacuum. They interpret them through the story they have already accepted. If Linda believes the man is the security specialist, she may think the warning means, do not share the code with criminals. She does not think he is the criminal. That is why education has to go deeper than never share codes. You need to understand why the code request appears inside a believable story. There is a rule I would teach every person over 50. If someone contacts you, then causes a code to arrive, the code belongs to the action they may be attempting, not to the conversation they are having with you. End the call. Do not negotiate. Do not let them explain. Then independently inspect the account involved. And do not call them back using the number in your recent call screen just because caller ID said Social Security Administration. Government phone numbers can be spoofed. Your phone can display a trusted name while the person on the other end is somewhere completely different. Social Security has warned about government number spoofing for years. The face printed on the caller ID is not identification. Now tell me in the comments, did you already know that a real security code arriving on your phone can actually be part of the scam? Or is this the first time someone has explained it this way? The next layer is direct deposit itself. People often imagine their Social Security payment as if Social Security reaches into a government bank account once a month and pushes cash directly into their checking account. The actual electronic system is more structured than that, but you do not need a banking degree to understand the risk. The government has payment instructions associated with you. Those instructions tell the payment system where electronic funds should go. If the destination information is legitimately changed, future money can go to the new destination. That is why unauthorized changes to direct deposit information are so serious. The criminal may not have to hack your bank in the way people imagine. If he can cause the payment destination to be changed before the benefit is sent, the government can send a perfectly legitimate payment to the wrong place. That is one of the most disturbing facts in this entire discussion. A missing Social Security deposit does not automatically mean the payment failed. Sometimes the most important question is not, did Social Security send it? The question is, where was Social Security instructed to send it? This distinction matters because many retirees react first by calling the bank. The bank employee looks at the account and says, "We don't see a pending Social Security deposit." The retiree assumes Social Security has not paid, but the bank can only tell you what is happening in the account you are asking about. If the payment destination was changed elsewhere, your regular bank may have nothing to see. This is why checking your direct deposit information through your independently accessed Social Security account can be valuable. If you receive benefits and use a personal My Social Security account, accessing it through the official Social Security website gives you a place to review information without trusting an inbound caller. Social Security has also described additional protections for beneficiaries, including a direct deposit fraud prevention block. That protection is important to understand because this is not automatic. Most people think they don't qualify for special protections because they imagine these tools are only for wealthy people, identity theft victims, or people with complicated financial situations. Fraud protection is not a reward for having a certain income. This helps both lower-income retirees and comfortable middle-class retirees. Some protections have to be requested. You have to claim the protection in the sense that you must take the step to put it in place. Nobody should assume every available security measure has been activated automatically. A direct deposit fraud prevention block is a serious step because it can stop direct deposit changes through certain channels, including changes you might later want to make yourself, until you follow the process to remove the block. That is why I do not tell every viewer to change every setting immediately without understanding it. Security has a cost in convenience. A lock on your front door protects you, but it also means you need the key when you want to enter. The right choice depends on your situation. The same idea applies to a credit freeze. People hear freeze and imagine their existing credit cards will stop working or their bank account will be frozen. That is not what a credit freeze is designed to do. A credit freeze is primarily about making it more difficult for someone to open new credit in your name by restricting access to your credit file for that purpose. It is not the same as closing your credit cards. It is not the same as freezing your checking account. And it is not the same as placing a Social Security direct deposit block. Why does that belong in a Social Security video? Because when someone has enough identity information to impersonate you in one place, you should think about where else that information could be tested. Identity theft is often a chain, not a single isolated event. Someone who steals information in a fake Social Security form may later try a credit account. Someone who obtains an email password may search that mailbox for old financial statements. Someone who gains access to your email may use password reset messages to attack other accounts. Think of your email account as the mailbox outside your house. Years ago, a thief stealing your mail might find a bank statement, a credit card offer, or a tax document. Today, your email may contain years of receipts, bank alerts, brokerage messages, insurance notices, password resets, family information, travel information, and account names. That is why reusing the same password across email, banking, and other important accounts is dangerous. If one password is exposed, criminals may try it elsewhere. I want to slow down here because this is where many retirees begin to feel that modern finance is impossible to control. Social Security has an account. The bank has an account. Medicare has information. The IRS has information. The credit bureaus have files. The brokerage firm has a retirement account. You may have a 401k, a traditional IRA, a Roth IRA, a checking account, a savings account, a credit card, a home equity line you forgot was still open, insurance policies, and maybe documents dealing with an inheritance. It feels as though your identity is scattered across 20 systems. That feeling is real, but the answer is not fear. The answer is separation. One strong, unique password for your email, strong security on important financial accounts, independent access paths, credit protection when appropriate, alerts turned on where useful, paper records or trusted offline notes showing the real phone numbers you use, a spouse, adult child, trusted friend, attorney, accountant, or financial professional who knows how you want suspicious situations handled. These are boring protections. Boring is good. Criminals make money from excitement, urgency, confusion, and isolation. And I need to say something about financial professionals. This content is educational. It is not a replacement for personal financial, legal, tax, banking, or accounting advice. A person with a trust, a large estate, complicated retirement distributions, business interests, inherited accounts, or tax problems may need advice based on his or her exact facts. I can explain the mechanism. Your own attorney, CPA, enrolled agent, bank professional, or qualified financial professional may need to apply rules to your individual situation. Now let us look at the hardest warning sign to detect. A caller who tells you not to give him information. That sounds backward, but watch how this works. The caller says, "For your protection, I will never ask for your password." Good. "I will never ask for your entire social security number." Good. "I will never ask you to send me money." Good. Then he says, "I only need you to confirm whether the account ending in 7724 belongs to you." You say no. Thank you. That confirms the unauthorized account. What are the last 4 digits of the correct account so I can restore it? Now you give him part of the correct account. Then he says, "I will send a secure verification request. Do not tell me the code. Just enter it into the security page I am sending you." That sounds safer because you are not reading the code aloud, but he has sent you the page. The problem remains. You are using his path. This is why I keep returning to the same principle. The strongest protection is not memorizing every sentence a scammer might use. The strongest protection is controlling the path. Did you start the contact? Did you independently navigate to the account? Did you independently choose the phone number? Did you independently type the web address? If not, stop and rebuild the path. Nobody is going to tell you about this in the middle of a scam call because the caller needs the opposite behavior. He needs you to stay inside his process. Every minute you remain in his process makes it harder emotionally to walk away. Human beings do not like abandoning something after investing time in it. After 40 minutes on the phone, a retiree may think, "I've come this far. I might as well finish the verification." That is a psychological trap. The criminal may even transfer you to a supervisor. Social Security issued a scam warning in 2026 involving fake call transfers and reminded the public that legitimate companies or other agencies cannot simply transfer your telephone call directly into SSA or OIG in the way scammers may claim. Imagine the theater. You are talking to someone pretending to be from your bank. He says, "I see the problem. This is connected to your federal benefit. Stay on the line and I will transfer you directly to a Social Security security agent." Music plays. A second voice answers. You feel safer because 2 organizations appear to be involved. But you never left the criminal phone system. The second person may use a different accent, a different tone, and a different script. He gives you a case number. He may know the details you told the first caller because the first caller typed them into a shared screen. Now the criminal operation feels organized. Organization looks like legitimacy to the human mind. But organized crime is still organized. The same can happen with your bank. A fake Social Security representative says, "We need your bank to verify ownership. I can transfer you." The next voice says, "Bank Security Department." You never independently called the bank. Therefore, you have not verified the bank. If you want to test this principle in everyday life, imagine getting a suspicious call from someone claiming to be your daughter. She says she lost her phone and needs money. You hang up and call your daughter's old number yourself. That independent action changes the situation. Fraud prevention is often nothing more glamorous than deliberately breaking a communication chain. Now we come to one of the quietest risks: automatic trust in saved phone contacts. Some retirees save Social Security as a contact after receiving a call. If the original number came from an unverified message, they have now stored the criminal's number under a trusted name. 3 months later, they search contacts for Social Security and call the scammer themselves. The call is technically outgoing, but the source is still contaminated. That is why when I say independently initiated, I mean independently sourced. Get the number from an official government website that you typed yourself, from legitimate official paperwork you already trust, or from another verified source. For your bank, the number on the back of the physical debit or credit card is often a useful starting point. Do not use a number sent to you by the person who says there is a problem. The same rule protects you from fake technical support scams. A message says your bank account has been compromised and gives a support number. You call. The person tells you to install remote access software so he can secure your banking connection. Once installed, he may be able to see or control parts of your computer. Now he watches you sign in. A simple direct deposit scare has turned into access to your financial screen. No Social Security problem requires you to give a stranger remote control of your computer because he unexpectedly called you. If someone who contacted you asks you to install software, share your screen, open a remote support application, or give him control of your phone, computer, or tablet, end the interaction. The final stages of these scams can become financially devastating because once the criminal senses that the victim trusts him, the story can expand. We found a second problem. Your bank account is now compromised. You need to move your savings while we investigate. The funds must be transferred into a secure account. Your regular account is connected to identity theft. Do not tell the bank employee why you are withdrawing the money because the employee may be involved. This is where a person who originally thought he was reconfirming a $2,000 Social Security deposit can end up moving $30,000, $80,000, or more of his own savings. The Social Security story was only the door. If you want to continue receiving information like this, consider subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications so you do not miss the next warning. These scams change their language constantly, but the financial mechanism underneath them changes much more slowly. Now I want to show you why people with more retirement savings may face a different form of the same attack. Suppose David is 69. He has $10,000 between a rollover IRA and an old 401k. He also has Social Security, a checking account, and a paid-off home. He receives a call about his direct deposit. He refuses to provide banking information. Good. Then the caller says, "We don't need your bank information. We simply need to verify your identity through your retirement institution." David is relieved. The caller knows the name of a large brokerage firm because David once mentioned it publicly, used an email address exposed elsewhere, or answered a previous survey. The next message looks like it comes from that brokerage company. David clicks it. Now the Social Security scam has become a retirement account phishing attack. The criminal was never primarily interested in the monthly Social Security check. He used Social Security because Social Security was the subject most likely to make David answer. This is why comfortable middle-class retirees should never think scam warnings are only for people living entirely on Social Security. And lower-income retirees should never think they are too poor to be targeted. This helps both lower-income retirees and comfortable middle-class retirees because the core defense is the same. Do not let an inbound stranger decide how you authenticate yourself. A person with only $900 in the bank can suffer enormously from a stolen $900. A person with $500,000 in retirement accounts can suffer enormously from a successful account takeover. The percentage of your life represented by the money matters more than the headline amount. Now consider Medicare. A caller may say, "Your Medicare record must be synchronized with your Social Security direct deposit record." Those systems are connected in certain administrative ways, But that does not mean an unsolicited caller gets to collect your bank information. Criminals love to connect two familiar government names because two names sound more official than one. The same person may mention an IRS verification because taxes are frightening. They may say a Social Security payment adjustment created a tax hold. Then they use words like 401k, Roth IRA, required distribution, inheritance tax, or federal banking regulation. This word soup has one purpose: to make you feel less knowledgeable than the caller. When you feel less knowledgeable, you become more willing to follow instructions. You do not need to know every tax rule to protect yourself from that conversation. You do not need to know how Roth IRA withdrawals differ from traditional IRA withdrawals. You do not need to know federal estate tax thresholds. You do not need to know whether your state has an inheritance tax. You do not need to understand Federal Reserve settlement systems. You only need to recognize that complicated financial vocabulary is not identity verification. The IRS does have real identity theft procedures. Social Security has real fraud procedures. Banks have real security departments. Medicare has real rules. Credit bureaus have real fraud alerts and credit freezes. The existence of those real systems is precisely what gives criminals material to imitate. Here is something else almost nobody understands. A scammer may not ask you to change your direct deposit at all. He may tell you that your direct deposit has already been changed and ask you to reverse it. Psychologically, reversal feels safer than change. You believe you are putting things back the way they were, but the information you provide during the supposed reversal may be what allows the real change. Imagine someone standing beside your car saying, "Someone has stolen your car key. Hand me your spare key so I can protect it." The fact that he uses the word protect does not change the fact that you just handed him your key. That is why the climax of this entire warning is not a secret government form, a hidden bank rule, or a magical fraud detection service. The most powerful protection is a behavior. Never authenticate yourself inside a crisis created by a stranger. Think about those words. The call creates the crisis. The caller then offers the verification process. That gives one person control over both the problem and the solution. Break that structure. If someone says your Social Security direct deposit has changed, hang up. Do not press 1. Do not stay on the line for the fraud department. Do not allow a transfer. Do not use the number they give you. Do not use their link. Do not reply to the email. Do not answer the text. Do not read a code. Do not enter a code into a page they sent. Do not install software. Do not move money. Do not give them a routing number. Do not give them an account number. Do not correct the wrong information they read to you. Then start clean. If you are comfortable using the internet, open a new browser yourself. Type the official Social Security website address yourself. Do not trust a sponsored search result simply because it appears first. Go directly to the official government site. Sign in to your personal My Social Security account using the official path. Look for information about your benefits and account. If you need to change direct deposit information, follow the current procedures shown by Social Security itself. As of the current SSA guidance, people can manage direct deposit through official Social Security channels, and depending on the benefit and situation, additional steps may be required. Social Security also explains that some financial institutions can send updated direct deposit information electronically through the authorized enrollment process. The important thing is that you contact your financial institution yourself if you use that route. Nobody who randomly contacts you gets to act as the middleman. If you do not use the internet, that does not make you helpless. Call Social Security using the official national number you independently obtain from SSA's own materials or official website. The published national number is 1-800-772-1213. If you have reason to believe your identity or direct deposit information may have been compromised, explain what happened. If necessary, arrange appropriate in-person help through official channels. If you use a bank or credit union, independently call the number printed on your card or statement. Ask whether there has been suspicious activity. Ask what account alerts are available. If you believe financial information was exposed, tell the fraud department exactly what you shared and approximately when you shared it. Do not minimize the situation because you are embarrassed. If a scammer obtained enough personal information for identity theft, think beyond the immediate Social Security payment. Review your credit reports. Consider whether a fraud alert or credit freeze makes sense. Social Security itself points people who suspect identity theft toward the major credit bureaus and the federal identitytheft.gov recovery process. If tax identity theft is a concern, use the IRS's official identity theft resources through a channel you initiate yourself. Notice how every safe action shares the same structure. You choose the destination, you choose the number, you choose the website, you start the session. This is not automatic. Nobody is going to tell you about every protection at the exact moment you need it. Some tools have to be requested, some alerts have to be turned on, some security blocks have to be activated. You have to claim the protection by taking the action yourself. And this helps both lower-income retirees and comfortable middle-class retirees because criminals do not care whether your missing payment would ruin your grocery budget or whether access to your retirement account could threaten a larger nest egg. They care that you can be manipulated. I want to return to that frightening message about 650,000 retirees for one final reason. Numbers create authority. If a message says, your account may have a problem, you hesitate. If it says, 650,000 retirees affected in nationwide SSA breach, your brain treats the number like evidence. Why 650,000? Why not 600,000? Why not 1 million? Specific numbers feel researched. That is a psychological shortcut. A number is not evidence because it is specific. A deadline is not official because it is precise. A case number is not legitimate because it contains 12 digits. An employee ID is not real because someone reads it slowly. A government seal is not proof because it is blue and gold. A caller ID is not authentication because your phone recognizes the number. A 6-digit code is not proof because it came from a real company. Every one of those objects can be placed inside a false story. That is the strongest revelation in this video. The most dangerous scams are no longer built entirely from fake pieces. They can be built from real pieces assembled into a fake conclusion. A real Social Security payment schedule. A real government phone number displayed through spoofing, a real employee's name, a real bank name, a real 6-digit authentication code, a real news story about identity theft, a real SSA warning about direct deposit fraud, a real federal logo copied from a public website, a real concern about electronic payments. Then one false instruction. Use this link. Call this number. Read me this code. Move your money. Verify within 24 hours. That one false instruction is enough. Picture the financial system like a long, quiet machine. Your employer once reported wages. Payroll taxes were recorded. Your Social Security record grew over decades. You eventually claimed retirement benefits. Treasury sends electronic payments through the financial system. Your bank receives money. Medicare premiums may affect what reaches you. The IRS has its own tax records. Credit bureaus maintain credit files. Your retirement custodian holds investments. Fraud systems analyze patterns. Password systems challenge logins. Phones deliver security codes. All of these pieces work quietly in the background. Then a stranger steps outside that machine and tries to make you become the connection he cannot obtain on his own. He needs you to provide the missing number. He needs you to click the missing link. He needs you to reveal the missing code. He needs you to authorize the missing transfer. He needs you to believe the missing story. That is why the final defense is not technological. It is behavioral. You remove yourself from his process. There is one more detail that matters greatly for anyone who receives an unexpected direct deposit warning. Social Security says that if someone tries to change your address or direct deposit without your permission, having your personal My Social Security account can help put you in control and can provide alerts related to attempted changes. Security options are worth understanding before a crisis, not while someone is rushing you on the phone. Do not wait for the frightening text to decide how you will verify Social Security information. Decide now. Know how you reach your bank. Know how you reach Social Security. Know how you reach your retirement custodian. Know which family member or trusted person you call when something feels wrong. Know that a security code belongs to you. Know that urgency is not proof. Know that a correct payment date is public information. Know that a familiar caller ID can be false. Know that the safest link in an unexpected email may be no link at all. And understand one final distinction. There is a difference between checking and changing. If someone tells you that your banking information may have been altered, Your first goal should be to independently check what is actually on file. Do not rush into changing numbers because a stranger said something changed. First, establish reality through your own channel. If the official record is correct, you may have stopped the scam before giving anything away. If the official record is wrong, then you have discovered a real problem through a safe route and can work with a legitimate institution to correct it. That is calm financial protection. Not panic, not ignoring everything, not trusting everything. Verification on your terms. A person can work 40 or 50 years to build a modest retirement. That retirement can include a Social Security benefit of $7,500, $2,000, $3,000 or more, a small pension, a 401k, an IRA, a Roth account, a savings balance, a paid-off house, and good credit earned over decades. None of it appeared overnight. Every piece represents time. That is what criminals are really trying to steal. Not only dollars, time already lived. The overtime shift you worked in 1989, the vacation you skipped in 1997, the 401k, contribution you made when the kids needed braces, the mortgage payment you made when interest rates hurt, the years you kept driving the older car, the tax bills you paid, the money you did not spend, the credit history you protected, the independence you built. That is why I take these scams seriously. But I do not want you to finish this video afraid of your phone, afraid of Social Security, afraid of your bank, or afraid of technology. Fear without a procedure is useless. I want you to finish with a procedure. When a frightening financial message arrives, do not obey the emotion first. Read the claim. Stop the conversation. Do not give information. Do not share codes. Do not move money. Then independently, go to the real institution. If it is Social Security, you initiate contact with Social Security. If it is your bank, you initiate contact with your bank. If it is Medicare, you initiate contact through the legitimate Medicare channel. If it is the IRS, you independently go to the IRS. If it is your retirement account, you use the trusted number or website you already know. The secret is almost disappointing because it is so simple. The safest verification channel is usually the one the stranger did not give you. That rule is more valuable than learning the design of every fake email, because designs change. It is more valuable than memorizing every scam phone number, because phone numbers change. It is more valuable than memorizing every fake story, because stories change. The principle does not change. You initiate the contact, you control the path, you verify before you act. And if you receive a message claiming that 650,000 retirees had direct deposit information changed and everyone must reconfirm within 24 hours, do not let the number or the deadline frighten you into the very action a criminal needs. I found no official SSA confirmation of that universal 650,000 person breach claim or 24-hour reconfirmation order. A real concern about direct deposit fraud does not make every warning about direct deposit fraud real. Your Social Security payment is too important to verify through a stranger's link. Your savings are too important to move because of a stranger's call. Your identity is too important to prove by reading a stranger a code. And your retirement took too many years to build for you to surrender control of the process in 24 frightened minutes. Share this information with a parent, spouse, sibling, neighbor, veteran, former coworker, or friend who receives Social Security. One conversation before the message arrives can protect someone from making a decision they would spend years regretting. And if you think this is important, watch the next video appearing on the screen now. In it, I explain another financial situation that can affect the money of millions of Americans, including retirees who believe their accounts are already protected, and the warning signs are even easier to overlook.